And good morning, everyone. All right, so today's video in my cancer series is what I want to talk about, and also slightly is the disclaimer at the same time, is there's a fine, overlapping, messy gray line of optimism, uh, genuine support, cavalier attitude, and ignorance. And sometimes they all work together and sometimes they don't. So this isn't necessarily meant to be a personal bitchy whiny session, but it is based off my personal experience, and it's not meant to attack. It's genuinely to educate and kind of I'm not one to I'm definitely one to be like, go hoorah, kick ass, but I'm also like, I'm not out to tell somebody that's 2 feet tall that they can dunk a basketball. I want hard truths to be included in that blind faith support, and sometimes they don't work together. So like sometimes facts are facts. So today's thing I want to talk about a thing I've learned about the fallout of my cancer, even though I'm cancer free. And this is where the cavalier attitude comes in, and it's I don't even know where to begin. Whether it's doctors I'll not include because they know stuff. It's more the society's uneducated aspect of it. And I'm not saying they need to be like, oh, boo-hoo, woe is me. But I think most people, myself included, even though I'm pretty in the loop and I would say pretty intelligent when it comes to this before I even had it, most people just see some movie montage of a person, doing chemo, puking, surviving, life-changing, getting the girl, the dream career, and Hallmark ending. It's not that. Particularly with this and men. And this is where I'm baffled. I feel like an outlier. A lot of men are like, oh, I'm cancer free. I've been incontinent and have had ED for the last 15 years, but at least I'm cancer free, and I'm not mocking those guys. I don't know. Well, actually, I know for a fact. Just a sec, I'm driving by a cop here. I know for a fact that. All right, drink coffee, act like I'm busy. But I know for a fact that from experience that I don't have that mentality, and I don't know if that makes me a non-compromiser, which is why I've got and done what I've done with my life up until Hollywood. And I don't count Hollywood because I don't think I succeeded there. Or if that makes me a whiny little bitch. Because I'm part of a bunch of men's cancer groups, and thus far I've seen none of them say what I think, which is cool. I survived cancer and my quality of life is dog shit. And again, this is a little bitchy and whiny, but it's more like, hey, some people need to hear these hard truths. I had the best case scenario, quote unquote. I checked my PSA quarterly, and it went from January to like 0.09 for those of you who know what prostate cancer is and all that. That's a really low number. And it went to like in May 5. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm here. So, and I've been doing that quarterly for years. So it's not like I caught that this surprised me. Caught it fast, had, I would argue, if not one of the best surgeons in the world at the forefront of this, do the best surgery, best outcome. And I don't have a quality of life. Not to be a whiny, and I'm not in a bad mood this morning, but I would rather have cancer and die from it. Being a 46-year-old male, up until this, virile, didn't have to worry about pissing his pants and being with the most beautiful woman he's ever met inside and out, and not being able to perform. Like, literally, shit just doesn't work. Which is horrendously shameful and embarrassing to mention publicly. But it's because I'm so hostile about the cavalier attitude of again, it's coming across a little mocky, and I don't mean to mock people, but well, you beat cancer. It's like, yeah, cool. And my quality of life is dog shit. Like, people only think of quality of life during cancer treatment, chemo, boohoo, losing weight, drugs making you sick, and that shit sucks. And I actually argue, why would you spend 5 years of hell doing that to add 1 year to your life? You know, obviously every individual is different, every case is different, but far too often people either don't take into account the quality of life or they're ignorant to it. And I'm not saying, I know everybody in all these scenarios I'm mentioning have no malice to them. Like, why would they? So I know all of it is ignorance and or blind optimism, but the common denominator is an absence of truth that leads to this weird cavalier support that is fine, but it highly censors on accident the truths. Like, I am the poster child for the best case scenario in this, and not a day goes by I don't see some dude in this cancer group saying, you know, like kind of doing a check-in and going, you know, still 13 years, like literally 2 days ago, yesterday, said something like 13 years cancer free, still incontinent, and I can't have sex, but at least I'm cancer free. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Great that you have that attitude. I am not capable of it, but I guess I say all this to say, men need to know the consequence. Like, I didn't wait, and I caught it in perfect scenario, and this is the outcome. So if you're some dude that's ignorant or it won't happen to me, every man is, I believe this is a factual proven statistic, every man will die with cancer. Whether they die because of it is a different story. So dudes, you're gonna get it. Catch it fast. I don't know, it's kind of like, do you want to catch it fast and go, oh cool, I can't wait to experience what Bosley's experienced. But because yeah, I don't know, I'm obviously giving a mixed message, because I'm like, catch it fast so you can deal with it, and then you're like, well wait, you dealt with it fast, best case scenario, best surgeon, and it's still horrible. Well, that's true too. So I don't know the answer. Therein lies the answer is, would I have changed what I did had I had heard somebody be brutally honest? Like, my dad's going through it, and I know the fallout, but I didn't know the full-on details through my own ignorance. So I guess I'm not trying to be some soapbox cancer superhero, but I guess I'm just doing what many don't, and I don't think, cancer doctors need to have cancer, but, they really, generically across the board, they really numb the delivery of the fallout. And I don't know, maybe my standards are just skewed, but I think it's a sick fucking joke to be like, cool, you're cancer free, and a certain part of your body does not work, you're with the most beautiful one in the world, and you can't go out in society very often because you're gonna wet yourself. Cool. I think I'd rather have cancer, because I didn't have any symptoms other than in a lab test, and I didn't have any of those problems. Again, I say this with Betty sometimes with various discussions or debates or arguments. Like, this is a case I want to be wrong. I want this to go away. But the other thing guys need to know is this isn't a cut it out and forget it. This isn't like Hugh Jackman posting on Instagram, I have skin cancer, I got it cut out, 2 days later I'm fine. Nope. Everything I've seen, the unit of measurement is years, plural, to even find out if you're out of the woods. It's not like years of work and then you're like, I'm out of the woods at 24 months. At 24 months, you find out if you have 36 months left, or if you're done and there's nothing better to be had. So yeah, the unit of measurement is years, and guys need to know that. I don't know. Like I said, it's not supposed to be all doom and gloom. I'm not. This particular playlist is really important to me. I, I'm not out to be some cancer hero, but I was infuriated that despite my knowledge, my research know-how, my connections, and also just the way I'm wired to look and research and learn, the resources are so spread out on this topic, and from like the science that's available down to the nitty gritty day in the life of in the trenches, deep, dark, miserable bullshit, and that is not discussed. So I want to kind of cover all those bases. So this one's a little bit more like slap in the face facts and or realities. And again, I don't know the answer because they're conflicting stances in this discussion. You know, one message, and I believe it. I'm not being a hypocrite or putting off a facade. Like the news story on that news station in Chicago I was on last night. You know, I do say get screened. It's not a hard test. Guys, dudes that are all like, I don't need. That's gross. It's a blood draw. The thumb in your butt or the finger in your butt thing. That's outdated, and it is a highly unreliable modality for diagnosing. You are. Trust me, there are during this process that is the least of your concerns, and I will highlight those in another miserably uncensored, just uncomfortable video. So yeah, my messages still get screened, but at the same time, it's like, well, wait, but your also messages like you would rather died of cancer. I'm like, well, that's true too. So welcome to the world of lose-lose, I guess. And again, this isn't meant to be a downer, but it's just I do know every time a stranger or family member says encouraging words, they're not being malicious. They're being I guess forgivably ignorant, because unless they've had it and they don't know. Like they're like, oh, you know, you're almost out of the woods, you're on the road, and it's like, if by road to recovery you mean 2 years of pissing your pants and being able to get a hard on around your most beautiful woman in your life, yeah, I'm on the road to recovery. That sounds, yeah, cool. Count me in. Like, no, that's, and I use this comparison a lot. And trust me, if for those of you know how much I love Dizzy, mercy killing a dog because of their suffering, the loss of their dignity. Oh, that got me. God, I miss that dog. I'll be the first to say is the hardest thing. And I'm not exaggerating for the sake of the story. Putting Izzy down was to date the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I legitimately question it. I don't think I'm exaggerating on a daily basis, but on paper, I knew it was for the best because of the various things that were loss of quality of life, dignity, etc. Take that template and apply it to me. I'm not saying I'm going to kill myself or people should kill me, but I check all those boxes, the exact same boxes people check when they decide to put, you know, in my life with horses or dogs, decide to put a horse or a dog down. But when it's humans, we're all like, oh, but you're cancer free. You wear the t-shirt and say cancer journey and all these really cancer survivor. It's like, cool. And that's great on the surface. But then behind the scenes, right behind the curtain, that person who's surviving on the cancer journey, you know, has a lifetime of fucking adult diapers and pills that don't do anything anyway when you're around the most beautiful partner in the world. That's, yeah, cool. I want to be a cancer survivor now. So anyway, this was a little hostile, a little bitchy, whiny. The message underlying, despite any emotional delivery, I still stand by, and I don't know the answer, guys. I have a friend who's at the beginning stages of do I, don't I, and I would want him to know this. He's one of my closest friends since like 6th grade, and I'll do the same thing. I'll tell him like, this shit sucks, X, Y, Z. I don't know what to tell you. You know, and a lot of it's like, it's such a problematic disease, and this will be my final thought, because it's so, there's no, it's, I always keep, I say every time I discuss this, it's not like an ACL surgery, like on a knee. Pretty much every dude of all ages, barring any random complications, it's pretty much black and white the same. Bolt, you know, donor ligament to bone, let it heal 6 to 8 weeks, done. You know, rehab and, you know, a little bit of recovery here, but that's about it. Done. Science, fact, pretty much consistent across the board, regardless of the patient. This bullshit, it's all over the place as far as every variable in the scenario, in the equation, in the satelliting and surrounding the equation. Like, do you have kids? Do you have people that need you? You know, if I was a single dude alone in life, I would have just stayed at home after I put Izzy down and just rode this out and never left the house, pissed my pants, wouldn't need to get body parts functioning, pointing north. Who cares? So yeah, the fallout is relative to your life. You know, are you young? Are you old? Some old dudes I've seen, they're like, well, I was already pissing my pants and couldn't get a boner anyway, so how's this any different? So in that case, I'm like, well, yeah, I guess you wouldn't want cancer because you at least want your version of normal quality of life. So yeah, there's so many variables. And none of them are the right answer. Like, that's the thing, is this, if anybody's ever had injuries or surgeries or disease, this one is really hard because there's no win. It's the least amount of loss is the one you pick. And in this case, the least loss still is a lot of fucking loss. So on that motivational note, happy post Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go work out some stress and sadness now because I thought of Izzy, and yeah, go do my thing. So hopefully this helped more than hurt, and wishing everyone the best.